Hello there, Leo. Thank you so much for stopping by for your in-depth monthly video forecast. This forecast is for the month of August, and we are looking at August the 1st through the 15th for the first section of this video, and then the second half will be August the 16th through the 31st. Just want to remind everybody too that I am still doing the contest on the channel, so every time you put a comment below one of the videos that I've created, that comment gets counted towards a drawing at the end of the month for a prize, and you get to choose what you want. If you want the goodie bag, the 30-minute live reading with me, 28 candles, Reiki candles, or an actual long-distance Reiki session with me. So lots of good choices to choose from. And having said that, let's just jump straight into your reading, Leo. So the first thing that I'm looking at does talk to me about your environment, and your environment is any place where you have energy or effort invested. And so, most people will tell me that this is home, but sometimes it's someplace else. So you want to keep your mind open about what I might be talking about here. And so what we have coming up is telling me that your environment is not really working out very well for you right now. So you may really be looking seriously at either changing your environment or making some serious changes in your environment whenever we're looking at the first part of August, Leos. Next thing that I am taking a peek at does talk to me about your subconscious leanings, and it looks like there's something that you are definitely working on making a plan for. There's a goal that you've set for yourself, and in your subconscious you're just trying to figure out how to make that goal actually materialize, how to make it happen. Next thing I'm looking at talks to me about two different things, learning style and also communication style. So when I'm looking at learning style, there's a couple of things happening here. I do feel like, Leos, a lot of you are learning very much by taking action and by getting the ball rolling and then sort of learning as you go. And I also feel like a lot of your direction is coming in intuitively for some of you as well. Okay. As far as your communication style, Leos, I really think that you have a lot of emotion going on around your communication, or maybe I should say lack of communication. But it seems to me that there is not a lot of communication going on, and I feel like that communication is not happening because you're not feeling very happy, and you're not wanting to just spread that mojo all over the whole world and everywhere. So I think that your default setting here is just to be quiet and maybe even go into a little bit of a recluse mode during this point in time, at least as far as your communication style. Now, looking at work, it looks to me like there are some things that you would really, really, really like to see changed at work. And it seems like no matter what you're doing, that just is not changing. It's going to stay the way it is, at least for a little while longer, is what is showing up for me as far as work for you, Leos. Now, the next thing that I'm looking at talks to me about that part of your personality which is being grown or expanded right now. And so what we're looking at here is this idea of I think what you're going through at the moment where you're expanding is you're facing some fears that are pretty big fears, and just giving them the 1-2 knockout punch. You're not letting them control you anymore. Okay, so that's awesome. Awesome sauce. Bye bye. Okay, next thing that we have coming up talks to me about something that you stand for. And this is a situation where you feel like you're defeated. You just feel like you can't win in this situation. And I think that you're explaining this sense of defeat to somebody else, or standing for, why you feel that way. And so the other person, after they talk to you, how they feel is they feel really disappointed in the whole situation. They feel disappointed that you're feeling this way. I think that your perception of things really surprises them, that you would consider this to be something that you just can't beat. All right, so next thing that we're looking at talks to me about the lesson or experience of the time frame, Leos. What we have coming in is some kind of message about money, and it's the kind of message that we don't like to hear. This is a message that says, oh, by the way, you have an invoice that's due that you weren't expecting, or maybe it's bigger than you thought it was going to be. You know, this can be that you accidentally ran over your cell phone and now you have to replace it. You know, all kinds of different ways that this can actually manifest, but basically you get the gist. It's news about money that we don't want to hear. All right. At the same time that that's going on, I do feel like there is somebody who is paying you back something that they owe you, whether that's money or whether they borrowed an egg, you know, and they're paying that back. But I do feel like things are being made even between you and somebody else in your sphere of influence at this time. And there's also another situation that's happening at right around the same time, excuse me. And that is that there's somebody that you consider yourself to be in partnership with, whether it's a romantic partnership or a friendship or otherwise, that you're just having a hard time being on the same page with this person right now. And then once we get up to the end of this time frame, Leos, we see you really coming into a place where you're just not feeling your best. You're not feeling top notch. You may be having headaches or lack of energy, something like that. And I feel like that is actually coming on because of stress having to do with this partnership that's not really working really well, having to do with that idea about, you know, hearing that news about money, having to do with this whole sense of feeling defeated. It just comes across to me that this is really kind of a very stressful time for you. You know, things are frustrating at work as well. So you're facing a lot of fears and you're giving them a knockout punch, but I still think you're going through some stuff at the beginning of August, Leos. And please know that, first of all, this is a general reading, so not everything I see will apply to every single Leo that watches this. But also, secondly, what I see on the table is just the way the energy is right now, which I'm looking at this before August has even started. And so you have free will. So you can turn this stuff around with your own free will. You can make the things that you don't like, you can make them turn out better just by making better choices or different choices than what you would have otherwise, just because you have a goal of making things into something that are better than what I'm seeing on the table. And this would be a really good time to do that, guys. Okay, let me go ahead and wrap up this half, and when I come back, if you guys aren't too scared to watch the second half, hopefully we'll have better news for the second half. We will cover from the 16th to the 31st. See you in a second if you're sticking around. Thanks for sticking around, Leo. So let's go ahead and look at the 16th through the 31st of this month. Let's see if things start to look a little bit better. All right, so looking at your environment, what you have coming up here is that you have a lot of responsibilities in your environment. You're taking care of that environment. So I think that this is much better than what we saw last time where we saw it wasn't working out. So there are things that you're taking care of, but that's a good thing, right? There are things to be taken care of. There are things that can be taken care of. We like that. Next thing that comes up talks to me about your subconscious leanings. Subconscious leanings are there's some kind of situation that you're not very happy with and your subconscious is working on how do we turn that around? What do we need to focus on to turn that around so that this can be a happier situation after all? Next thing we're looking at is learning style and also communication style. Leos, I do think that you're very sharp, very intelligent. You have a lot of information, and I think you are researching some new information. I don't know that you're necessarily letting other people know that you're researching information, though. I think you're kind of keeping it on the down low. Now, as far as your communication style, I do think there's something dark going on with your communication right now. I think that um, you may still have a little bit of that residual unhappiness from the first part of the month. And I think that rather than being quiet now, you're starting to express some of those negative emotions fairly often. I think they're bubbling up a lot right now, Leo, to be honest with you. You guys know I don't do candy coating in a personal reading or here. Let's see. If you don't want the truth, go somewhere else. That's all I can tell you. All right, let's look at work. So what we have here is it looks like where you had sort of been working by yourself or maybe even moved away from work completely, you are going back to work whenever we get into the second part of August, Leos. Next thing that we're looking at talks to me about your subconscious leanings. I do see that there is something that you're stressing out about here. What I can tell you is whatever it is you're stressing out about, you probably don't have that much control over it. And so, you know, you just want to do whatever you can do to make that situation better and turn it loose if you can. But the way the energy is sitting right now on the table, it looks like there's something you're stressing out about that you don't have really a lot of control over. And that's kind of where you're growing and expanding at this moment. It really goes along with those subconscious leanings about, you know, really focusing on that unhappiness and how to make it happy, you know, growing and expanding into figuring out how to relax a little bit and quit being so stressed out and anxious about things that are going on. So what do you stand for? It looks to me like there's some kind of situation during this time frame where somebody's asking you to explain the idea of you sort of getting out of the fray, getting out of the middle of things. It looks like there's drama going on around you, and I think that you've decided that you want to step out of that. You don't necessarily need to be involved in that, and so you're pulling back from that. And I think there's somebody in your sphere of influence who's asking you about that, that doesn't understand why you're not right in the middle of it with everybody else. After you explain to them the situation and why you're not right in the middle of it with everybody else, it looks to me like this other person feels that you are basically juggling. I want to say it feels to me like they're thinking that you're basically playing two sides. Like, so it looks to me like you're just trying to be not involved or neutral, and it looks like this person sees you as being like a double agent type of situation. So not exactly what you're really doing, but that's their perception of it. Anyway, lesson or experience of this time frame, what we have going on is something that is from the past that used to cause tension, or it's a long-term type of debate. You thought this was over. We see that coming back up again once we get more towards maybe like the last third and last quarter of the month. And then as that comes up, you know, now you're working on, okay, how do I take care of this and resolve this for good so that it doesn't come back up again? There are some secrets that are coming out. There's some truth that's coming out when this happens. And I think you're finding out some information in a situation that you thought was fishy before, but you really couldn't figure out why the pieces didn't seem to fit together. Now the pieces are going to fit together and you'll have an understanding as to why that's so fishy whenever this thing from the past comes back up. I think that you're finding some real balance through this, especially with that new truth coming out. Well, I mean, it's been around a while, it just hasn't been at the surface. You know, it's been a truth for a while, it just hasn't been known. And so I think once that comes to the surface, I think that you're finding balance, you're finding peace, you're finding healing around this situation. And you are bringing it to a close once and for all once you know that information. So I'm liking how we end the month. To me, that says we're closing out a cycle that could potentially cause drama and just damage. So I like that. I think you guys have a lot of different stuff kind of colliding at the same time here, Leos. So, you know, focusing on just keeping your balance and just handling everything just one step at a time is what gets you through time frames that are like this. And also knowing that they're just temporary. Everything is just temporary, so this is just temporary too. Okay? So let me go ahead and close out this video, Leos. Let me thank you all for watching, for subscribing, for sharing, for liking this video. Also, thank you to those of you who are ordering private readings and private Reiki sessions from me. It is because of all of you guys' support that I'm able to do what I love to do for my living. So seriously, thank you very much. Everybody have a fantastic month, and I will see you guys back here the next time around. Peace out.